Hey guys, Constance here from Cosmopolitan Cornbread. So I am here in the homestead kitchen and I'm going to share a family favorite recipe with all of you called Turkeysbury steaks. It is basically a lot like Salisbury steaks, except I make this with ground turkey, so it's a little bit healthier if you're trying to avoid red meats. And so let me show you how I make this. Let me turn on my overhead light here since it's very overcast out there today. So in my mixing bowl here, I have got 2 eggs that I have beaten, and then I've got about 1/4 of a cup or so of grated onion, and then I've got another 1/2 cup or so of diced onion, which I'm going to use later on. Alright, so to my bowl here, I'm going to add about 1/2 teaspoon or so of black pepper. And then I'm going to add about 1/2 teaspoon of some sea salt. Two tablespoons of parsley. And whisk those together. And then I'm going to add in 2 pounds of ground turkey. And as I put the ground turkey in the bowl here, I'll just kind of break it up as I drop it in there. That makes it a little bit easier to mix it up instead of trying to start with 2 really big chunks of turkey. Okay. Then I'm going to add in 1 cup of panko breadcrumbs. And you can use regular breadcrumbs too if that's what you have on hand. So now I'm going to very gently combine all of these ingredients with my fingers. And I'm not going to like mash this all together. I'm just going to gently work it together, because the more you work ground meats, whether it's ground beef, ground turkey, the more you work it, the firmer it's going to get, and that's what leads to dry, hard patties, meatballs, things like that. So I'm basically just going to kind of lift it up with my fingers and then let it drop back into the bowl, like that. The less you work it, the better. You're just kind of combining it together and really letting gravity help you out with that. Okay, so now that's all combined. I'm going to grab my plate here. Now I'm just going to take the meat by a handful at a time and shape it into patties. And I'll set them here on my plate as I get them made. And this will make anywhere between 8 to 10 patties. It really just depends on how big you make them. I just do try to get them to be about the same size. So now I've got a nice big cast iron skillet here, and I'm going to, let's see, I'm going to heat up some cooking oil. I'm just using coconut oil here. A couple tablespoons of that. I'm going to heat it up, and then when this is nice and hot, I'm going to add in about 1/2 of my turkey patties at a time. I don't want to crowd my pan. And I'm just going to brown the turkey patties, and that'll take about 3 to 4 minutes until they are nice and golden on each side. They do not have to be all the way cooked through yet, because there's going to be a little bit more cooking that'll take place. My turkey patties are finished browning and I've got them over here on a plate. And so now I'm going to add in my diced onion, and I'm just going to cook these right in the drippings that I have here in my skillet. And then I've got a clove of minced garlic. And we're just going to cook these for a couple of minutes until they begin getting tender. Alright, my onion and garlic here is getting nice and tender. So now what I'm going to do is I'm going to sprinkle in 3 tablespoons of all-purpose flour. Grab my whisk here, and I'm just going to kind of stir these all together until my onions are all coated with the flour. Alright. Okay. Next I'm going to add in 3 cups of beef broth. I'm going to make sure that I'm whisking this as I add it in. That way my mixture here doesn't get clumpy. And then I'm going to add in a tablespoon of Worcestershire. Ooh, if I can get the lid open. Yep. So I'm just going to bring this up to a boil, and it'll thicken up, make a nice gravy, and then I will turn this down to a simmer, add in all of my turkey patties, throw a lid on here, and just let it simmer for about 10 or 15 minutes, and I will take the thickest patty that I see and I will test it with a meat thermometer. Make sure that it's 165 degrees in there, and then they will be just about ready, and I'll just have one more step to do. So the last ingredient that goes into these turkey's steaks is mushrooms, and I will confess I absolutely hate hate mushrooms. And so the compromise that I have, because Mr. Smith loves mushrooms, is I get these kind of button mushrooms, and I buy the whole ones, and then I just cut them into basically wedges. So they're pretty decent sized, easy for me to spot in the skillet and to leave in the skillet. That way I can enjoy my Turkeysbury steak, sans the mushrooms, and Mr. Smith can scoop out as many of them as he wants. And so now basically the last thing that's going to happen is once my Turkeysbury steaks are finished cooking and they are up to the correct temperature, 165 degrees, I will go ahead and just toss these mushrooms into the skillet and essentially just let them heat through. They don't really have to cook. They're mushrooms. We'll just heat them through, let them get coated in the gravy, and then that is it. And then these Turkeysbury steaks with their wonderful gravy can be served with a bed of mashed potatoes. You could serve them with rice or any side dishes that you would like to serve it with. They are absolutely delicious. Alright guys, so that is how I make the Turkeysbury steak. Of course, if you would like to make this recipe, I do have a printable version of it on my website, cosmopolitancornbread.com, and I will put a link to that down below so that you can print it out or save it on Pinterest. So thanks for joining me here again in the Homestead Kitchen. My name is Constance from Cosmopolitan Cornbread, and I'll talk to y'all next time.